Hello everyone, it's Teacher Marianne here from HelloTeacherMarianne.com, and on this channel you'll find videos all about helping you get hired and teach ESL online, where I'm bringing you valuable tips, insight, and need-to-know information. What makes you stand out as a good ESL teacher? Well, that's what this video series is all about. And today's video is all about rewards. I'm going to be giving you 5 different categories of rewards that you can incorporate into your classes to make students want to come back to your classroom and parents rebook you. Now, if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if this video is helpful for you. I also want to let you know that you can go to HelloTeacherMarianne.com and request your free guide to your online classroom setup. Also, if you are interested in becoming an ESL teacher online and you don't yet have a referring teacher, I'll leave my link in the description box below. If you use my link to sign up, then you get my free one-on-one coaching, as well as feedback analyzation and lots more referral-only documents that will help you not only get hired, but set you up as an established online ESL teacher. Okay, category number 1, verbal praise. This cannot be overstressed. Verbal praise, I feel like, is probably the most effective reward a teacher can give a student. Yes, they love playing games and they love seeing visuals, but verbal praise goes such a long way in lifting them up on the inside, giving them confidence to keep going, to keep giving you these kinds of answers. They're feeling like, okay, I'm getting it. She's liking what I'm doing. I think it is so important that if a student is answering correctly and responding how we want them to respond, that we continually tell them, yes, that's it, you're doing it, I like the way you said this. Having taught in multiple classroom settings and having traveled the country as a consultant for a decade, I know firsthand that whether you're teaching physically with a classroom full of students or you are one-on-one teaching online, verbal praise goes the farthest in pumping kids up and boosting their confidence and getting student output, ultimately making parents really happy because their kids are feeling comfortable to respond in your classroom. So I just want to reiterate, verbal praise is not just good job, good job, good job. But if you will give praise with a tail, in other words, praise them and tell them why you're praising them. And now for the littles, let's say the student said run instead of ran, and that was correct. Then you would say, good job saying run. Yes. If it's an older student and they said a complete sentence, great job speaking a sentence correctly. Maybe the student has been having trouble conjugating verbs. He is running. Maybe they've been saying he is run to the store, but this time they said is running. Don't let that slide. Good job. I love the way you said he is running. You can even set them up for this verbal praise. For the next sentence, you can even give them a little cue. I'm listening for is running. But just let them know exactly what it is that they did well, so they will keep doing it, especially in this ESL setting where a lot of times you are saying good, I am saying good, and they have no idea why I'm saying good. Also, with the littles, so often their mom is right there beside them. So even if the little does not fully grasp why you praised them, chances are the parent will get, oh, she likes the way he said this. We're going to practice. Okay, the second category of rewards is props. Your props can pull double duty. Let's say you're teaching a lower level student and the unit is the food unit. As you're teaching, you're pulling out props and you're pulling out, do you like to eat strawberries? Strawberry or lemon? And so you're kind of using the props throughout the lesson Maybe the unit is a higher level unit and it's all about animals. Maybe you're just really getting into the lesson. You're not really focused on an external reward so much because you're using a lot of props. Then in that feedback, I would be sure and let the parent know, you know, Leo did a great job today. He earned all 5 stars and some land animals. So those props just pulled double duty. Not only were they your teaching aid, but they were also reward for that lesson. I actually do that all the time with my lower levels where it's too distracting to use a different kind of reward, or it may get them off task a little bit. Props will keep them engaged in the lesson that we're working on, and it will also serve as my reward for them. If I know that I'm going to be pulling double duty, props is going to be my teaching aid and also my reward, then I will say in the beginning, when you do a great job, you'll get 5 stars and some animals. They definitely can do the work of teaching aids and rewards. Okay, the third category of rewards is printable. Nope. The third category of rewards is digital rewards. Now, digital rewards, I will be honest, are the rewards I use in 99% of my classes. Why? They take up no space, but mainly they take up hardly any extra thought or time. So the first thing you're going to do is download the Google Slides app, and then you're also going to download SlideKick. There is a Google Slides Facebook group that I will link below. And basically, you go on that Facebook group and you follow their step-by-step instructions under announcements of how to begin using Google Slides on your iPad or on your cell phone. It's worth investing an hour or so to set it up and learn how to use it, because that investment of an hour of your time will save you hours the rest of the week. You will no longer have to come up with your own rewards for every class. I'm doing the land animals, so I literally would punch in on my Google Slides app land animals, and all the rewards that come up under land animals will show up, and I just pick one, and I know if I've already used that reward or not because I've already checked my teacher-to-teacher feedback. In the teacher-to-teacher feedback, I always leave what reward I did last. This is the biggest time saver in the world, but anyway, so I let's say I choose this one called Land Animals Vocab FAS, which stands for Find a Star. So I'll just say in the beginning of class, when you do a great job, you will pick a word. Let's say 5 minutes has gone by, it's time for a reward, and I'll say, you're doing great, pick a word. Oh, okay, bear? Bear. Oh, you got a star. What do you see? And depending on the level of the student, you can say, give me a sentence with the picture. I see 2 bears. What are the bears doing? You can extend for a few seconds on this slide. This makes parents very happy because they love extension. Now, in the younger rewards, I teach a little Elsa. She will usually come to class dressed as a princess. And so typically I just wait to see who she's dressed as that day. The other day she came to class and she was holding her Ariel doll. And so I quickly typed in Ariel in the search bar in my Google Slides app, and Ariel rewards came up, and I chose an Ariel, and so her reward was we colored Ariel in class. She loved it. Parents love that because they know that I'm paying attention to their student. Their student wants to stay engaged because they know every 5 minutes or so they get to do that fun reward. That's another just good perspective, the student interest, especially at the lower levels where you're really just trying to get them to participate. Do they like fire trucks? Just their interest is huge, especially when they're little. And then really in the level 5 and 6, I really like to have those conversations with the students. So we do a lot more of conversation starters. So in my app, I would just type in conversation. I will get all kinds kinds of rewards that will show up under conversation, and I'll just pick a conversation starter, and usually it will be a number, and the student will pick a number, and there will be a random question behind that number. There may be a star behind that number. And this is all the rewards that popped up under conversation. So you can see it's almost like a Google search. You just get a plethora of rewards. It's really fun to do that with the older students and really beef up those conversations. Sometimes you just draw a blank in class, but if you have a guide, a template of the questions you're going to ask to keep the student engaged, would you rather stay at home and eat, or would you rather go to a restaurant and eat, and why? How often do you go to a restaurant? What's your favorite kind of restaurant? What kind of clothes do you like to wear? What singer do you like? Who is your favorite American singer? If you've got all those questions right there in front of you, it's just conversation at your fingertips. Okay, there is another digital reward app that's very popular with a lot of ESL online teachers, and it's called Stars to Apples. Now, unlike Google Slides, which is absolutely free, although on the Google Slides app, there is a place for you to send in tips for these amazing teachers who take this time to create these thousands and thousands of rewards for us to literally just have at our fingertips. It's unbelievable. So there is a tip jar for that, but it's free essentially. And then Stars to Apples is a one-time $9.99 download from the App Store. So once you've downloaded it and paid for it that one time, you've got it for life. Stars to Apples is also very similar to Google Slides. It's the same concept as far as the student making a choice on the screen. It's in your App Store, but I'll also link it in the description box below. Also, there is a Facebook group. In my opinion, digital rewards are the way to go. Category number 4 is, what is it? Printable rewards. As with the digital rewards, there is also a Facebook group, Printable Props and Rewards, something like that. I'll also link that in the description box. So I'm just going to give you an example. I have a couple of printables here. This is Mike and Meg from our VIPKid lessons, okay? These are laminated. I use these for different things every now and then in levels. There are thousands of teachers who do use printables as rewards. The concept is the same as the digital reward. So basically, instead of having the pictures on your device that you hold up to the camera, you have the pictures printed out, laminated. Most teachers stick little magnets behind their pictures. The child will pick a number. What's behind the number? Is it a star? Is it a smiley face? Is it a question? There are a million different things you could do with that same concept of having the students pick a number and then you decide what goes behind the number. Teachers will print all kinds of things, you know, print Dino and have an opening for the mouth. Let's feed Dino. There are countless options. You can also do princesses, transformers, characters that students are really into right now, and you can just have several of those printed out and laminated and just kind of use them across the board just based on student interest or age or level. You can also print props that are related to the content of the lesson, such as food, animals, feelings, clothing, weather, seasons. So there are so many things that you can do with printable props, just like you can with the digital rewards. You just don't have it digitally. It's actually something that you pull up and hold. Okay, category number 5, the last category is whiteboards. I use whiteboards very often in class. Sometimes I'm playing teacher versus student. So on my Google Slides, when I pull up a teacher versus student game, they pick a number and let's say they pick number 1, but number 1 had 5 points behind it. Then on my whiteboard, I would write 5 points under the student name. And then I'll say, okay, you pick a number for me. let's say they picked 10 for me, but behind number 10, there was only 2 points behind it. So I write number 2 under my name. And so I use the whiteboard that way, but I'm going to also show you 3 other ways that I use the whiteboard. I have one student who loves to draw, and she draws a picture every day. And so in almost every class, we draw. You guessed it, on Google Slides, I just type in draw A. And then whatever it is we're working on, land animal, ocean animal, face, you know, girl's face, boy's face, whatever it is, a house, landscape. If I can't find something on Google Slides, or maybe I just feel like Googling it, and I'll type in Google, draw easy turtle. When it's time to reward, her name is Samantha. Her English name is Samantha. When it's time to reward Samantha, I'll say, Samantha, let's draw. And then we will draw one little section at a time. So first we'll draw the head, and I'll show her how to draw it, and she'll copy on her piece of paper. And then we'll draw the body, and then we just draw. We just do that throughout the lesson. Every time it's time for a reward, I'll say, great job. I'll give Samantha a star and say, let's draw. And I hold it up and we draw for 2-3 seconds, and then we put it down and we keep going. It doesn't take a lot of time away from the lesson, and not every student can handle this. Definitely would never try this with the littles. I only do this with my older students because it can get the littles off task so easily, or it would be too much for me to ask them to manage paper and pencil and still pay attention to me. So I just don't even attempt it with the littles. But the older ones, some of the older ones really love it. Some of them only want me to draw. They'll say, I don't have a paper and pen, but you draw. And so when it's time to give them a reward, great job, you get a star, I'll draw. Can you guess what I'm drawing? No, you still don't know? Okay, let's keep going. And then by the end of the lesson, I've drawn the entire picture, and that's their reward. So that's a really cool, simple, easy one to do. Okay, the next way that I use the whiteboard is I will write out their name. So I have Sweet Grace, who has been my regular for, I don't know, about a year. I will just write out their name and already come up with adjectives. And so every time it's time to reward them, great job, you get a star. Grace, G. I will not have these already written out. I will just write them out one at a time. So these just pretend they're all blank, and I would just write out, G. Grace is graceful. Graceful. Yes. Now, they can always go back and watch their class clips, and they can write down these new vocabulary words and learn new words. They can look them up. She knows that I called her graceful, so she may be curious after class to look up, what does graceful mean? What I do recommend, though, is having your adjectives already written out. So I use about 100 sticky notes a week, and I just very quickly, if whoever my student is, if I'm going to do this, I will just write his name out and quickly come up with a few adjectives, stick it on my computer so that I can refer to it, because there's something about being live in class that sometimes I just kind of draw a blank, like, I don't know how to describe you. I have called students by the wrong name before. Okay, the third way that I like to use the whiteboard is, again, let's pretend that none of these are written yet, but I like to, for these older students, teach them ways of saying good job as I'm teaching new vocabulary words. So at the 5-minute mark, and I'm always saying at the 5-minute mark because at the 5-minute mark is when I always give my first reward at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And that way you get all of your 5 stars in, because we always have to give 5 stars for every lesson. And then at those star marks, every 5 minutes or so is when I also give my other reward as well. So at 5 minutes, you did a great job. You did excellent. You did it. And literally all I'm doing is writing adjectives on the whiteboard, but it's teaching them new words. I love the whiteboard. I would probably say the 2 ways that I use it most are for drawing and playing the teacher versus student game. Okay, everyone, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope that it can be at least just a springboard to get you thinking of ways that you can make your class fun and interesting and increase that student output, increase the interest level in your classes, and just give you some helpful tips. Thanks again for watching. Remember, you can do this. It might change your life, and I'm your biggest cheerleader. Okay, bye-bye.